Good morning and welcome to another edition of Breakfast with Brian. Still reading in Matthew's Gospel in chapter 26, we read about that amazing incident, amazing story of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And this is what struck me today as I read. I'll read some of it to you. Jesus went to pray. And it says, going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." 3 times he did that. The last time it says, and he prayed the 3rd time, saying the same thing. How amazing that Jesus should have been asking the Father that the very thing he came for might pass from him. The ordeal he had to go through with might pass from him. We often imagine the future, and it's quite unrealistic and never comes to pass. That's what I find. You feel the same? And what happens is then our whole life is governed by the way we feel. The anticipation, this terrible anticipation of maybe something that is happening in a relationship or with employment or with health or many different things. But here Jesus is looking at a reality. He knew full well what crucifixion was. He knew full well that that is where it was all leading, apart from the fact that he would be bearing the sins of the whole world, which was an immense burden for him. It was so strong and it took so much out of him. It said that drops of blood fell from him. It also said wonderfully that at the end of this, in Luke's Gospel, we read an angel came. Angels came and strengthened him. A couple of things I felt was important for us, because in 1 Peter 2:21, I'll read it to you. It says, "But if you suffer for doing good and endure it, this is commendable before God. To this you were called, because Christ suffered for you, leaving you an example that you should follow in his steps." Well, how do we follow in his steps when we consider the passage we read? 2 things. 1, whatever we think of the future, we must take to God. And tell him honestly how we feel about it. He's not upset about that. He can handle that because he knows you and he knows me and he loves us and he knows what we're going through, whether it's imaginary or whether it's a reality. Take it to God. And the second thing, which is equally, if not more important, is for us to surrender to his will. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. The will of God is one of the most important things in our lives. That's what our lives should be based on. All of us need reminding of that. Is my life, I need to be reminded, is my life really founded on the will of God? Am I doing and wanting to do the will of God, no matter what it costs? Important questions that come to us out of this passage if we are to follow in his steps. Consider then today with me, are we really desiring to follow in his steps? Are the other things that we do in life, are they so important that we must have them, we must do them? Let's surrender afresh to our Father. Father, no matter what we're going through at the moment, help us, and may your will be done. To finish, let me remind you that just as the angels came and strengthened Jesus when he was in need, you can be absolutely sure, if you put Jesus first, that you will be strengthened in times of difficulty. May God bless you, and goodbye from Breakfast with Brian.